Let me tell you something about time. It moves whether you do or not. The clock doesn't slow down, and opportunity doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Most people live trapped, not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of a lack of mental preparation. They spend their lives reacting to circumstances instead of designing them. Think about this. Every day, you're either building your future or borrowing from it. There is no neutral. The habits you repeat, the thoughts you entertain, the choices you make, they're all casting a vote for the life you'll live 5 years from now. And if you cast for mediocrity, don't be surprised when you win it. Let me remind you, discomfort is temporary, but regret is permanent. The wealthy learn to live with temporary discipline so they can enjoy permanent freedom. The successful choose discipline today and get paid by life for decades to come. That's the difference. And don't forget, money is just a tool. It's not the goal. Freedom is the goal. Options are the goal. Impact is the goal. So, let me ask you, are you willing to think differently? Are you willing to become the architect of your life, not just the occupant? Because wealth is built, not wished for. And it starts in the mind long before it shows up in the world. Most people sit around waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the truth. That moment never arrives. If you wait for all the lights to turn green before leaving home, you'll never get on the road. Life doesn't offer guarantees. It offers windows of opportunity. And those windows don't stay open forever. The wealthy understand this. They don't sit back and say, I'll start when I'm perfectly ready. They start where they are with what they have and they adjust along the way. That's how real progress happens. I remember when I first decided to change my financial life. I wasn't ready. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't have a financial degree. And I certainly didn't have a perfect plan. But what I did have was the hunger to stop struggling and start building something better. So I took the first step. I started reading books on wealth, saving a little from every paycheck, and saying no to the distractions that kept me broke. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy, but it was a start. And starting, my friend, is half the battle. Too many people are trapped by the illusion of preparation. They collect information, attend webinars, buy planners, and organize their notebooks, but they never take the leap. Preparation becomes a hiding place. It feels productive, but it's really just procrastination dressed up in nice clothes. If you wait until you feel completely ready, life will pass you by while you're still making to-do lists. The wealthy don't live that way. They step into the arena before they feel fully equipped. They trust that action will teach them more than theory ever could. It's like planting a tree. You don't wait for the perfect season, the perfect soil, or the perfect weather report. You plant the seed today because you know the sooner you plant it, the sooner it grows. Wealth works the same way. The sooner you begin building the habits of saving, investing, and learning, the sooner the results will start to compound. Waiting is the enemy of wealth. Action is its partner. There's a moment in life when you must stop asking for permission and start building the life you want. Start with small actions. Open the investment account, read the first chapter of that book, make the first call, set the first goal. Start before you're ready, because readiness is not a requirement for success, discipline, and courage are. Most people live their entire lives as consumers. They get paid, and what do? They pay for rent, groceries, entertainment, gadgets, and a lifestyle that often outpaces their income. Then at the end of the month, if there's anything left, they might think about saving or maybe investing if they feel like it. But by then, there's usually nothing left. That's the consumer mindset. It's a trap that keeps people chasing money but never catching it. The wealthy operate differently. They live by a simple but powerful rule. Pay yourself first. And by paying yourself, I don't mean splurging on a new toy. I mean setting aside a portion of your income to invest before you do anything else. Every dollar you earn has two possible paths. It can either buy comfort for today or build wealth for tomorrow. One leads to temporary satisfaction, the other leads to freedom. The choice is yours. When I first learned this lesson, it changed everything for me. I started looking at every dollar as a seed. I could either eat the seed right now, buy something nice, feel good for a momenter. I could plant the seed. If I planted it, that dollar would grow into 2, then 4, then 10. That's the mindset shift that changes your life. You stop thinking like a consumer and you start thinking like an investor. And I don't just mean investing in stocks or real estate, although that's part of it. I mean investing in assets that grow businesses, skills, knowledge, relationships, systems, and yes, financial investments that produce income while you sleep. I remember the first time I forced myself to invest before spending. It wasn't easy. There were things I wanted, things I thought I needed, but I made the decision to invest first. I bought books instead of new clothes. I funded a small business instead of buying a new car. I learned to say, not yet, to the luxuries, and yes, to the opportunities that would multiply. Over time, those decisions compounded. The books gave me wisdom. The business gave me cash flow. The investments gave me freedom. That's the secret the wealthy live by. They don't just think about how to make money. They think about how to multiply it. They don't spend first and save what's left. They invest first and spend what's left after that. The consumer mindset says, what can I buy today? The investor mindset says, what can I build for tomorrow? Choose wisely, because every dollar you spend today is a decision about the life you live tomorrow. One of the biggest myths about wealth is this idea that everything changes when you start making more money. People think, once I earn 6 figures, then I'll get serious about budgeting. Or, once I have a big windfall, then I'll start investing wisely. But here's the truth. If you can't manage a little, you won't manage a lot. Wealth doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you are. If you're careless with $1,000, you'll be reckless with $100,000. If you ignore your finances when they're small, you'll drown in them when they're big. I learned this lesson early on. When I first started earning extra income, I thought I had arrived. So I upgraded my lifestyle, the car, the clothes, the dinners out, and guess what? The money disappeared just as fast as it came in. I had to face a hard truth. It wasn't about how much I was making. It was about how well I was managing. Earning more won't solve money. Problems discipline will. Wealth requires stewardship, and stewardship starts small. If you can learn to manage a small amount of money with precision tracking every dollar, knowing where it's going, deciding how it will grow, you're building the habits that prepare you for more. And if you skip that step, you'll find yourself always chasing income but never building wealth. I used to carry a little notebook in my pocket, and every time I spent $1, I'd write it down. Coffee, lunch, gas, everything. At first it felt tedious, but after a while it became empowering. I knew exactly where my money was going. I could see the leaks, the waste, the distractions, and I could fix them. That habit taught me to respect money, no matter the amount. The problem with most people isn't that they don't have enough, it's that they don't manage what they already have. They live in financial fog. They hope more income will solve it, but all more income does is magnify the habits they've already built. If your habits are poor, more money just makes the problems louder. Think of it like a garden. If you don't take care of a small garden, you're not ready for a big farm. The weeds will multiply just as fast as the crops. But if you can tend to a little, you're training yourself to handle a lot. So start today. Manage what you have, however small it seems. Track it, respect it, steward it well. That discipline turns you into the kind of person who can handle more. And when you become that person, more will naturally come. Most people think wealth comes from one big momenta lucky break, a sudden windfall, or being in the right place at the right time. But that's not how real wealth is built. Real wealth doesn't arrive in one grand event. It sneaks up on you through quiet, consistent effort. It's the product of daily disciplines, not occasional efforts. It's about what you do in the dark when nobody's watching, not what you do in the spotlight when everyone is. I remember when I first started thinking about wealth in this way. I wanted the big win. I wanted the fast track. But someone sat me down and said, it's not what you do once that counts, it's what you do every day. That hit me hard. So I shifted my focus. Instead of chasing the next big thing, I started to focus on the little daily practices that build financial muscles over time. One of the first things I did was start tracking my spending every day. Not once a month, not when I felt like it, every day. I'd write down each purchase, review where my money was going, and ask myself, is this helping me get to where I want to go? That simple habit taught me more about wealth than any seminar ever could. It forced me to become conscious of my money, not just casual about it. Another daily discipline I committed to was reading. I'd read 10 pages of a financial book or listen to an audio program while driving. Little bits of information compound, just like money does. Over the years, I've learned that one idea picked up from one book can change the entire trajectory of your finances. But you only get that benefit if you do it daily, not randomly. And I reviewed my goals not once a year, but weekly, sometimes daily. I'd ask myself, am I still on track? Is my behavior today aligned with the wealth I'm trying to build tomorrow? It's easy to drift if you're not checking the compass, but checking in regularly keeps you focused, keeps you honest, and keeps you moving forward. Wealth doesn't respond to occasional effort, it responds to daily disciplines. Most people try hard for a week, then relax for a month, and wonder why they're stuck. The wealthy make discipline a lifestyle, not a phase. They treat small habits like serious business because they know the small habits build the big life. So if you want to build lasting wealth, forget about luck, forget about once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Focus on what you do every day. Track your money, read something new, review your goals, make smart choices, then repeat it tomorrow. That's the formula. Small steps, done consistently, will take you further than one giant leap you never take. Most people don't lose wealth because they lack opportunity. They lose it because they lack awareness. They drift from day to day, paycheck to paycheck, rarely stopping to ask, is this working? But the wealthy, they build the habit of reflection. They stop, they review, they adjust. They ask themselves, what did I do well this week? What could I have done better? Where did I make progress? Where did I fall into waste or distraction? This habit of reflection is not optional if you want to build wealth. It's mandatory. I learned this lesson early on when I was first starting out. I used to work hard all week, feel exhausted by Friday, and then just repeat the same pattern again next week. I was busy, but not always productive. One day a mentor said to me, don't just finish your week, inspect it. So I started setting aside quiet time every Sunday night. I'd sit down with a notebook and ask myself a few simple but powerful questions. Where did my money go this week? Did I stick to my financial plan? Did I invest like I said I would? Did I fall into any traps, emotional spending, procrastination, poor decisions? That practice changed everything. It made me aware of patterns I didn't even know I had. Sometimes I'd realize I was spending too much on little things, coffee here, lunch there, and those little leaks were costing me thousands over time. Other weeks I'd realize I was letting opportunities pass me by because I wasn't following up on contacts or reviewing my investments. Reflection exposed the gaps, and once I saw the gaps, I could fix them. Wealth is not just about making good decisions. It's about improving your decisions over time. And the only way to improve is to reflect. You can't fix what you don't face. Reflection forces you to face the truth. It shows you where you're on track and where you're drifting off course. It's like checking the map on a long journey. If you don't stop to check where you are, you might end up miles from where you meant to go. It's also important to reflect on your wins, not just your mistakes. What did you do well this week? Did you save like you planned? Did you resist the urge to buy something you didn't need? Did you make a wise investment decision or read something that expanded your thinking? Success leaves clues, and if you don't stop to notice those clues, you'll miss the chance to repeat them. Reflection sharpens awareness, and awareness sharpens decisions, and sharper decisions build stronger wealth. So carve out time once a week to sit quietly and review. Don't rush it. Don't skip it. Make it part of your routine. like brushing your teeth or exercising. Because wealth isn't just built by working, it's built by thinking about how you're working and making sure each step is getting you closer to the life you want. One of the biggest mistakes people make on the road to wealth is thinking it should happen fast. They want to skip the steps. They look for shortcuts, lottery tickets, windfalls. But wealth doesn't work that way, not real wealth anyway. Real wealth is built in decades, not days. It's created by long-term thinking, steady habits, and letting time multiply your efforts. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You plant it, water it, nurture it, and wait for the harvest. That's how wealth works. I learned this lesson when I first started to study wealthy people. I noticed something interesting. They were patient, not lazy, not passive, but patient. They had a long-term vision. They set 10-year goals. They thought about where they wanted to be not next week, but in a decade. And then they acted daily to build toward it. Small steps, repeated over time, add up to massive results. They weren't chasing quick profits. They were building systems that paid off over the years. When I was young, I tried to make money fast. I wanted to double my income in a week, triple it in a month. I chased shiny opportunities, got distracted by every new idea. And what happened? I stayed broke because I was acting like a sprinter in a marathon. Wealth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon of discipline, consistency, and belief in the process. Once I shifted to long-term thinking, everything changed. I stopped trying to get rich quick and started building wealth slow and steady, and guess what? The results came faster than when I was trying to rush it. Compounding is one of the most powerful forces in the world, but it only works over time. Whether it's money, knowledge, relationships, or reputation, the longer you let it grow, the bigger it gets. That's why the wealthy focus on decades. They let their investments compound, they let their businesses mature, they let their skills deepen, and the results are exponential. One good decision today might pay you for the next 10 years, but only if you stay the course. Most people quit too soon. They get impatient. They plant the seed but dig it up after a week because they don't see results. They switch strategies too often. They stop saving because it feels slow. They stop learning because it feels boring. But the wealthy keep going when it's boring. They keep saving, investing, studying, and growing because they know the magic happens later after the compound effect kicks in. So here's the secret. Build a 10-year plan. Where do you want to be a decade from now? What kind of income do you want? What kind of investments do you want working for you? What kind of person do you want to become? Write it down, break it into yearly and monthly steps. Then act daily, no matter how small the action feels. Because the steady path builds wealth that lasts, while the quick path usually leads right back to where you started. One of the first lessons in wealth is learning how to manage yourself before you manage your money. That's because wealth is not just a game of numbers, it's a game of emotions. And most people lose that game long before they lose their money. Fear, greed, impatience, these emotions ruin more bank accounts than bad investments ever will. The wealthy understand that the real battle is not out there in the market, it's in here, in the mind. That's why emotional mastery is financial mastery in disguise. I remember early in my career, I made an investment that went down in value. And the first thing I felt was panic. My hands got sweaty, my stomach tightened up. I thought, I've got to get out before I lose more. But the wealthy mentors I was studying did the opposite. They stayed calm, they looked at the facts, not just the feelings. And many of them bought more when prices were low, because they knew value when they saw it. That taught me something crucial. Wealth isn't about reacting emotionally, it's about responding wisely. Greed is just as dangerous. It shows up when you think, this is it, I'm going to make a fortune overnight. That's when people chase risky deals, throw money at trends, or try to time the market. They get caught in the hype. And when greed takes over, discipline goes out the window. The wealthy avoid that trap. They don't chase every shiny object. They stick to principles, not emotions. They remember that if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Then there's impatience, the silent killer of success. Impatience makes you want results too fast. It pushes you to abandon good strategies because they feel too slow. But here's the truth. All great wealth takes time. It's built like a house brick by brick, not overnight. The wealthy know this, so they stay patient. They keep saving when it's boring. They keep investing when it's slow. They keep learning when others stop, because they know the reward is worth the wait. Emotional discipline is a skill you build, just like financial discipline. Start by noticing your feelings. When you're tempted to panic, pause. When you're tempted by greed, ask yourself if it fits your long-term plan. When you feel impatient, remind yourself of the big picture. Review your goals. Revisit your strategy. Talk to someone who's been there before. And never make major financial decisions in an emotional state, because emotions cloud judgment, and clouded judgment costs money. The wealthy don't have superpowers. They just have self-control. They stay steady when others shake. They stay focused when others scatter. They act with reason when others act with reaction. And that's why their results are different, because financial mastery starts with emotional mastery. If you can win the battle in your mind, you can win the battle for your financial future. One of the smartest things you can do for your financial future is to create non-negotiables, rules you set in stone before emotion gets involved. Why? Because the moment you leave money decisions to how you feel in the moment, you're setting yourself up for trouble. When you're excited, you overspend. When you're scared, you underinvest. But when you have clear, non-negotiable financial rules, you take emotion out of the equation. And that's how the wealthy win. Let me tell you something I learned early on. I used to be a spender. If I made a little extra, I'd find a way to enjoy it right away. A fancy dinner here, a new gadget there. And guess what? At the end of the month, there was nothing left to invest. But one day I realized I was living by default, not by design. So I made a new rule for myself. Always pay myself first. Before the bills, before the fun, before anything else, I saved 10%. And when that got comfortable, I raised it to 15%, then 20%. It wasn't negotiable anymore. It wasn't a decision I had to make each month. It was a discipline I followed no matter what. Wealthy people live by these kinds of principles. They don't wait until they feel like investing. They invest automatically. They don't wonder if they should save this month. They save automatically. They don't ask, should I spend this bonus on a trip or a new toy? They already know it's going to assets first. When you make your financial rules clear, life gets simpler. You don't debate with yourself every time money shows up. You just follow the rules you've already set. Another non-negotiable I learned was never to touch my long-term investments for short-term desires. When the stock market dipped, I left it alone. When I was tempted to use my savings for something flashy, I said no, not because I'm special, but because I decided in advance long-term assets are untouchable. That rule saved me from 1,000 bad decisions over the years. The problem for most people is they make money decisions on the fly. They wait until they're in the store or at the car dealership or scrolling online at midnight, and that's when emotion takes over. But the wealthy operate differently. They decide their rules when their mind is clear, not when their heart is racing. They build a system of disciplines that guide them when feelings try to sabotage them. So here's the real question. What are your financial non-negotiables? Do you have them written down? Do you follow them every month? Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. If you don't, start today. Decide now. I will save first. I will invest monthly. I will never raid my future for today's pleasure. Make those rules part of who you are, not just what you do. Because when your financial decisions are guided by principles, not impulses, you build a life of freedom, not frustration. One of the biggest mistakes people make on the road to wealth is trying to multiply money before they multiply knowledge. They get excited about making more, but they skip the part where they become more. That's a dangerous game. Because if you grow your income faster than you grow your wisdom, you'll find yourself in trouble. It's like pouring gallons of water into a cracked bucket. It looks good for a moment, but it won't hold. The foundation can't handle the flow. And in life, your financial foundation is built with knowledge. I remember meeting a man who made a fortune overnight in his business. He went from broke to wealthy in less than 2 years. But guess what? Within 5 years, he was broke again, worse off than before. Why? Because his bank account grew, but his mindset stayed small. He never took the time to learn about taxes, investments, money management, or how to protect his wealth. So the money left as quickly as it came. And that's not rare. It happens every day to people who focus only on earning and skip the part about learning. Wealthy people think differently. Before they scale their income, they scale their understanding. They read books on money, business, and strategy. They study the principles of investing. They learn from mentors who've already done it. They attend seminars, listen to podcasts, and ask better questions. They feed their minds first, then build their wealth second. Because they know something critical. Ignorance is expensive, but education is an investment that pays forever. I learned this lesson personally when I started making a little extra money in my career. At first I thought, now I can spend more. But then I realized, if I didn't learn how to handle $1,000 wisely, I'd never handle 10,000 or 100,000. So I started reading 10 pages of a good book every day. I listened to audio lessons while driving. I spent my evenings learning instead of just entertaining myself. And over time, my thinking changed. My decisions improved. And because of that, my wealth started to grow not by accident, but by design. Think of it this way. Money multiplies faster when knowledge multiplies first. If you try to skip the learning process, you'll find yourself making emotional decisions, chasing trends, or falling for bad advice. But when you grow your mind, you strengthen your filter. You know what opportunities to take and which ones to avoid. You know how to analyze, not just react. You become a better steward, not just a bigger earner. So don't be in such a hurry to scale your income that you forget to scale yourself. Make learning part of your wealth-building strategy. Every day, ask yourself, what am I reading? What am I learning? Who am I listening to? Because wealth is not just about earning more, it's about becoming more. And when you grow your knowledge, you'll find that the money follows naturally. Success is a deeply personal journey. And one of the most important steps you can take on the path to lasting wealth is to set your own standards for what success truly means to you. Too many people get caught chasing after someone else's idea of success, whether it's a flashy car, a big house, or a title. They measure their worth by comparing themselves to others, which only leads to frustration and confusion. The truth is, if you don't define success on your own terms, you will forever be chasing a shadow that doesn't fit your life. I've seen this time and again in my life and in the lives of those I've mentored. Some folks measure success by the size of their paycheck, while others measure it by the quality of their relationships, their health, or their peace of mind. And all of these are valid because wealth is not just a number, it's a feeling of freedom, contribution, and security that you create for yourself. You must decide what success looks like through your own lens, or you risk wandering aimlessly, caught in a cycle of wanting what others have but never feeling satisfied. When you clarify your own definition of success, you gain direction. Direction breeds discipline. Discipline transforms intentions into actions, and actions build momentum. It's like setting a destination before starting a journey. Without that clear point on the map, you can wander forever without arriving. For me, success has always been about more than just money. It's about building a life where I can contribute, learn, and leave a legacy. That clarity gave me the discipline to say no to distractions and yes to what truly mattered. So today, ask yourself, right, what does success mean to me? Is it waking up each morning with purpose? Is it financial freedom to live life on my terms? Is it the ability to give generously and impact others? Whatever your answer, own it, write it down, speak it aloud. When your standards come from within, they become a powerful compass that guides your decisions and fuels your commitment. Remember, the wealth you build will only be as fulfilling as the vision you create. Choose your own path and pursue it with unwavering discipline. One of the smartest moves you can make on your journey to financial success is to harness the power of automation. It's easy to get caught up in the emotional roller coaster of money, sometimes feeling motivated and ready to save or invest, and other times tempted to spend impulsively or procrastinate. Relying solely on willpower is a dangerous game. It's unpredictable and often fades just when you need it most. The solution is to build systems that work for you even when motivation runs low. When I first began managing my finances, I realized that setting up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts changed everything. Instead of hoping I'd save some money each month, I made the decision that a fixed amount would leave my checking account and go straight into investments without me having to think about it. This simple act created a structure that disciplined my money and ensured consistent growth. Automation removes the guesswork and the emotional battles from money management. It takes you out of the equation just enough to prevent those moments of weakness from derailing your progress. Over time, these small automated contributions compound and multiply, turning into significant wealth without you having to lift a finger each month. It's like planting seeds and trusting the process to bring forth a harvest. This is not just about saving, it's about building lasting wealth with minimal friction. Whether it's setting up automatic transfers to a retirement account, scheduling recurring investments in stocks or real estate funds, or even automating your bill payments to avoid penalties, these systems create a financial environment that supports your goals. They protect you from your own impulses and set the stage for steady, reliable growth. In my experience, the difference between those who get rich and those who stay stuck often boils down to this. The wealthy don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They create automatic habits and systems that make wealth building effortless. So today, commit to designing your financial systems. Automate your savings, automate your investments, and let your money work for you consistently and without hesitation. When you do, you'll find that wealth stops being a struggle and starts becoming a natural part of your life. When it comes to money, one of the greatest lessons is learning to prioritize wisdom over emotion. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, whether that's the excitement of a booming market or the fear of a sudden dip, but true financial success doesn't come from reacting impulsively. It comes from calm, thoughtful decisions made with a clear mind. In my own life, I've seen many people make costly mistakes simply because they allowed emotions to dictate their actions. Fear can cause you to sell at the worst possible time, while greed tempts you into risky decisions that don't align with your long-term goals. The wealthy understand this all too well. They recognize that emotions are powerful, but they don't let emotions control their money. The first step is to pause and create space between a financial impulse and your response. When faced with a decision, whether it's an investment opportunity, a large purchase, or a financial setback, take a step back. Give yourself time to think it through rather than rushing in or running away. This space allows wisdom to rise above emotion. Seeking advice is also key. No one is an island, and even the most successful people rely on counsel from trusted advisors, mentors, or financial experts. These voices help bring clarity and perspective when your own feelings might cloud your judgment. What separates those who build lasting wealth from those who don't is this ability to remain calm when others panic. Markets will always have ups and downs. Opportunities will come and go, but it's the composed mind that navigates these waves successfully. When you learn to prioritize wisdom over emotion, you position yourself not only to preserve what you have, but to grow it steadily. This is a mindset shift, a discipline that once mastered will serve you for a lifetime. So, the next time money stirs your emotions, remember to breathe, step back, and act with wisdom. It's in these moments that true wealth is made. Failure is never the final chapter, it's simply a part of the journey toward lasting success. When it comes to money and wealth, mistakes are inevitable. I've been there myself, faced setbacks that could have derailed my progress if I had let them. But the difference between those who quit and those who build wealth lies in how they treat failure. The wealthy understand that every mistake is tuition and expensive lesson that teaches you what not to do next time. It's not a tragedy. It's an opportunity. One of the most powerful things you can do when you stumble financially is to write down exactly what happened, what went wrong, and what you can learn from it. This simple act of reflection turns a painful experience into a priceless resource. It forces you to see the mistake not as a defeat, but as a teacher. When you see failure this way, you start to embrace it rather than fear it. In my own life, I remember times when investments didn't pay off, or when I made decisions without enough knowledge. Those moments stung, but by reviewing them carefully and learning the lessons, I grew stronger. I became wiser, more cautious, and more strategic. Those hard-earned lessons became the foundation for bigger wins. The truth is, if you quit after every failure, you'll never build wealth. It takes resilience to stay the course, to pick yourself up, adjust your approach, and move forward. Wealth is created by those who persist and improve, not by those who give up. So next time you make a financial mistake, don't let it be your last. See it as part of the process, learn from it deeply, and then keep going. This mindset will carry you far beyond temporary setbacks to the lasting success you desire. Remember, failure is the tuition you pay for the education that builds your fortune. Saying no is one of the most powerful skills you can develop on the journey to wealth. Every yes you give, whether it's to distractions, unnecessary spending, or time-wasting activities, comes at a cost. It's not just about money. It's about your energy, your focus, and your time. These are the currencies of success, and once spent, you can't get them back. The wealthy understand this truth deeply. They don't say yes to everything. They say yes only to what truly moves them forward. Discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. It's protecting your priorities from the many things that want a piece of your attention. If you want to build lasting wealth, you must be willing to say no to the things that don't serve your vision or your goals. This might mean turning down invitations that distract you from your work, refusing to buy things that don't fit your financial plan, or simply putting limits on how you spend your time each day. I've seen people who struggle financially because they say yes too often to instant gratification, to keeping up with others, to low-value activities that fill their day but don't grow their wealth. The difference comes when you start to say no deliberately and with purpose. Saying no to what doesn't move you forward creates space to focus, to grow, and to take advantage of the opportunities that truly matter. In my own life, I learned early that every yes should be earned. When I began protecting my time and money by saying no to distractions and temptations, I created the freedom to say yes to meaningful investments and valuable relationships. It was a turning point in building lasting success. So today, ask yourself, what can I say no to so I can say yes to what really matters? This simple practice will sharpen your focus, guard your priorities, and build a foundation for the wealth and freedom you seek. Remember, every yes costs you something. Choose wisely. The journey to wealth isn't marked by a finish line. It's a path of continual growth and learning. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they've arrived once they've made money. But the truth is, the moment you believe you know it all, you stop growing, and when growth stops, so does progress. The wealthy never fall into that trap. They remain lifelong students of success, always asking questions, seeking new knowledge, and surrounding themselves with mentors who challenge them. I remember early in my life, I thought success was about having all the answers. But experience taught me that humility is the soil where true wealth takes root. The wealthiest people I've met don't pretend to have it all figured out. Instead, they have the courage to admit what they don't know and the discipline to keep learning. They understand that wealth is not just about the numbers in the bank. It's about personal growth, mindset, and evolving wisdom. Learning keeps you adaptable and sharp. It allows you to spot new opportunities and avoid pitfalls others miss. When the economy shifts or industries change, those who keep learning are the ones who survive and thrive. Staying humble opens you up to fresh ideas and different perspectives, which is vital in a world that never stands still. So, embrace the mindset of a student. Read books, listen to mentors, attend seminars, and have conversations that expand your thinking. Wealth is a reflection of your personal development. The richer you become in knowledge and wisdom, the richer your financial life will be. Never stop learning, because lasting success demands a lifelong commitment to growth. Remember, humility and curiosity are not signs of weakness. They are the secret strengths of those who build wealth that lasts. As we come to the close of this conversation, remember this. Wealth is not a moment, but a journey shaped by your daily choices, your mindset, and your commitment to growth. True success is built quietly, patiently, through small disciplines practiced consistently. It demands humility to learn, courage to act, and wisdom to stay the course even when the path seems long or uncertain. Now is the time to take control of your future. Don't wait for perfect conditions or the right moment. It starts with what you do today. Decide what wealth truly means to you. Set clear goals. Build habits that serve your vision. Surround yourself with people who lift you higher. And above all, commit to becoming the person capable of handling great success. I challenge you to make a promise to yourself, to wake up each day with purpose, to think wisely before you act, and to remain faithful to the process of building lasting success. Remember, it is in the small daily steps that great fortunes are built. Begin now. Start where you are. Invest in your knowledge, your habits, and your mindset. Your future wealth, freedom, and legacy depend on what you choose to do today. So take that step and keep moving forward with faith and focus. The life you desire is within your reach. Go, claim it,